Hi everyone, I'm Leo, this is Classical Numismatics, and I've just come back from the US where I attended the fun coin show in Orlando. This was my first coin show in the US, so in case you are thinking about making the trip to Florida and checking out the event, let me share with you my experiences there as an ancient coin collector, because especially for a US coin show, I was positively surprised in all aspects. Maybe also put up on the screen some of my pickups from the show. So, first impressions, the venue, the Orange County Convention Center. It's huge. That's where both the winter and summer coin shows are held, and the place is just enormous. I'm used to much smaller coin shows, so it was really impressive. And mind you, I've been to the summer show, which is supposed to be the smallest. I can only imagine how big the winter one is. So yeah, the show ran for 3 days. If you are a more serious buyer, there is an early bid day before the show officially begins, and it's actually a great opportunity to see what's available before the big crowds show up. It's also a much calmer day, so you have a better chance to talk to the dealers, to just talk a little bit more like numismatics instead of just like business. But despite being there for the whole 4 days, I'm pretty sure I wasn't able to see everything there was to be seen. The American market really is huge. Now, I was a little bit worried that the majority of the dealers would only be selling US coins, but I was happy to see not only a sizable number of dedicated ancient coin dealers, but also a number of US dealers also selling ancients. Some actually had dedicated staff to sell world coins and ancient coins. So that was also quite surprising. Not only ancients, in fact, there was a little bit of everything. World coins, those Spanish gold and silver hammered coins from the Spanish Empire, they call them cobs over there. Dedicated dealers to coins coming from shipwrecks. Apparently that's a huge market in the US as well. Lots of banknotes. It's still a relatively big market in the US, looks like. Tons of bullion in all shapes you can imagine. The bullion, the precious metal market is also big. Vintage bars, that was interesting to see. They even had silverware. Americans really seem to have a market for everything. But of course I was focused in the ancients section. There was a dedicated section on the floor to ancient dealers. Not that big, of course, but there was some very high quality material, in fact. Roman and Greek gold in the 4 and 5 figures was everywhere. I certainly had a misconception about the US market that still had to learn a little bit more about ancients in general, but no, I would argue that they are at the same level to the maybe considered more traditional European dealers, especially as far as the quality of the coin goes. And the dealers themselves were very knowledgeable. You could engage in a conversation about the art on the coins. Things were actually very well cataloged. That's always a green flag for dealers. If stuff is well cataloged, but with catalog references, the coin is properly dated, that's good. That's a good sign. So the dealers were knowledgeable. Of course, they were there to do business, but if you didn't take too much of their time, you could actually learn quite a lot from them. So I had a pretty good time. As far as the kinds of coins you could find there, that was interesting. There was a lot of diversity. I mean, there was obviously a very prevalent presence of Roman and Greek coins to pretty much everything you can think of. Maybe not a whole lot of medieval coins. There were some. Maybe specialized medieval coinage might be more focused on the European markets. And I think from everything else that I saw, that was the only niche that I think was lacking a little bit. So maybe that's a good opportunity for a dealer who wants to sell medieval coins there. Also, wildly different types of ancients. I was surprised to see a bunch of coins that you often don't see inside the European market. I mean, specific kinds of ancient Indian coins, Central Asian coins, Celtic coins. That was cool. I was expecting to buy Roman and Greeks because that's what I generally collect, but I ended up grabbing a bunch of stuff I don't generally see in Europe, like some very early Indian fractionals, coins from Celtic Britain. So, since Brexit and the division of the markets between the UK and the European markets, there have been it's been harder to find Britain coins in Europe. So I was pretty happy about that, and I capitalized on this. What else could I say about the offering of ancients there? I mean, fairly strong focus on quality and grade. There was a market for everything there, but they seem to be less forgiving in the US market with like problem coins or worn coins. I had that impression. Very high quality, so predominance of quality, and very strong prices, especially since the US market has adopted, it's a reality now, they adopted a practice of slabbing ancient coins heavily. So they seem to pay a lot of attention to the grade on the slab. I've seen a few interesting coins with some flaws actually going unsold, like perfectly good coins, historically relevant, but they had some flaws, so people tended to ignore them. And anything with minimally exceptional high appeal just flew out of the trays, like even with some frankly very high prices. So that was impressive to see. They really look for high grade material. As far as market trends, what have I noticed? First of all, once again, the prices. Ancient coins are definitely on the rise as far as price goes. I understand that the dealers need to add like a relatively healthy margin during these shows to pay for the expenses, but people were still buying well. So if the demand keeps strong, this will certainly with time validate a new reality of higher prices. There was also a lot of talk on fakes. That was interesting. I mean, I know fakes have always been a big worry in this hobby, but the feeling I got was that people were worried about new, more sophisticated fakes hitting the market, especially when we get to this like 4 and 5 figure coins. Yeah, they're worried about that. So their first reaction is generally to just send the coins for grading, since NGC, for example, won't put a coin in a slab if they don't think it's genuine. And I mean, that's fine. It's a very strong opinion, and some people use it as a proxy for authenticity. But when I saw that, I thought that was yet another reminder that there's really no panacea in this hobby. Like, if you want to not only learn how to avoid fakes, but to simply understand what is a fine style coin, what is a good die, a bad die, a good or a bad strike, these seemingly small things that actually matter so much for ancients and for the final value of a coin, you really need to spend a lot of time with these things. Like a good authenticator of coins, a good dealer, a good investor in ancients, he or she needs to be a good numismatist in the first place. That's what I saw there. Like, the best dealers were also the most experienced collectors who have been in this for years. So there's no easy way around it. And I've also had the chance of meeting a few subscribers. They actually recognized me by my voice, and I was able to sit down with one of them so we could take a look at some of the coins he bought at the show. His haul was actually really impressive, so let me share with you what he got. Alright, so we're at the very last day of the fun show, and I'm here with a fellow collector of mine. His name is Sky Day. He has such a cool selection of pickups for this fun show that I wanted him to share these wonderful little pieces with you. So, Sky, the floor is all yours. So, explain me why you got these coins and why they're so awesome.
Okay, so I'm typically a Greek and Roman collector, but this one really spoke to me because Derek's, it's one of the first kind of coinages that, even though it's Persian, it sort of descends from the same kind of coins that spawn Greek and Persian, which is the Croesus staters, those type of electrum type pieces that then evolved into Greek and also Persian.
And technically this is like an evolution of the Croesus. It's still the same the same weight standard, right?
Yes.
It's just an evolution of maybe it would be the very first case of monetary imperialism, as one nation conquered the other one and imposed their new visual standard on the coin, right?
True, and look at the details. It's got the face, it's got the spear, and it's got the bow. It's all the important factors. And the grade and the shape is so interesting because it's atypical for the type. It's not the same as the normal Derek or Siglos kind of oval look. It's very circular.
It's very circular. And actually, Is there a consensus as if the character featured on these coins is actually the Achaemenid King of Kings, or if it's just like the image of a hero or something like this?
I always thought it was a sort of warrior, like the immortal warriors that you might see in a movie like 300
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, because it's interesting because the idea for the Achaemenids is that their king was supposed to be a warrior, an archer, like this active character. So it's an interesting mystery that's still kind of unsolved, right? Is this the king? Is it not?
Well, think about it with those Parthian coins where it has the character on the back. Is that Apollo? Is that the king?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in some of them they show up with like the typical implements from the Parthians. In some it looks like Apollo. Yeah, it's a really nice early example of that kind of phenomena. That's a wonderful little thing. What else are we going to feast on?
We've got a diagram of Rhodes.
That is crazy.
With the 3/4 portrait. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Helios with the sun crown.
Yeah, one of the things I absolutely love about these coins, which on the other hand is one of the main disadvantages of the time, I'll see if you agree with me on that, is the nose, since it's the highest part of the coin, and in this case it's still pristine, so it keeps this nice strong nose that you can see and appreciate. But as soon as this coin gets a little bit of wear, this is the very first part that starts to be flattened away. So all of a sudden you transition from Helios to something that looks more like Squidward.
It's true. I saw at this show there was a tetradrachm of him and no nose at all.
No nose at all, right?
Everything else was nice, but the nose was all gone.
Unfortunately, in this case, we have a wonderful nose that it's still intact.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He can still smell.
Yeah, right?
And he can smell the roses.
Oh my God, this is wonderful.
Look at that rose.
Yeah,
the stem of the rose coming up the side.
Uh-huh. They did a little bit of a word play with Rhodes and the name of the city, and they were just like, okay, that's the symbol that we're gonna put on the coin, right?
Yes. And then there's the magistrate's name on the top.
What's the magistrate's name?
I believe I searched it earlier. It was...
If we look at it here...
it's in Greek.
M-A-N-A? Mnassima?
I searched it earlier.
I'm not... Yeah, I might be getting the initials.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, the initials have some
I found it.
You found it?
Nasimakos.
Nasimakos. All right.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And you have some little control marks as well, right?
Oh, yes.
We have a little Athena. It looks like an Athena. And the little P.
Or that would be a row.
Oh, that would be a row, right? Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
That's
my mistake.
No, that is perfectly fine. What a wonderful little thing. I mean, and it has some toning developing as well.
Oh, yeah.
What a gorgeous little thing.
Okay,
what else
next?
shall we feast our eyes upon?
Next?
We get into the Roman period. This I think
Yes.
that's my personal favorite.
My favorite of the trip that for the Romans. Okay, so let's see. A very well pedigreed and fine style piece of Nerva.
Oh my God.
And I loved it because Nerva is often soft strikes, often fuzzy images. This one is just so bold. It's like a bust come to life.
Yeah, and
on
I mean,
a coin,
and I mean all of the toning going on, the style, the elegant portrait. I mean, sometimes Nerva may end up looking a little bit like a caricature, like with the gigantic nose. Here they gave it a little bit of a nicer treatment. Mm-hmm. He actually looks like kind of happy in this one. Generally, he's a little bit
sad or angry. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the key piece for the Five Good Emperors collection,
Yes.
so it's also a very sought after piece. And on the reverse, we have Equitas Augusti, the equality brought by the emperor. Rome was not a particularly equal society, but at least that's what they wanted people to think of, right?
Well, when I think of the equality that the Romans were talking about, they weren't talking about hierarchy. They were talking about sort of anyone could get there if they wanted to. Like, it's not a true meritocracy, but you could try.
Yeah,
and it also reminds me of the concept that anyone, if you took enough time and you went through the right channels, anyone could meet the emperor for a court case.
That is true. At that time, it was maybe not easy, but it was possible to petition the emperor directly.
Unlike in the later empire, where there were these larger-than-life beings that They were the concept of being.
They were the concept of
Yeah.
the god emperor.
Yeah.
They were your dominos, and
Yes.
you simply couldn't reach this guy. Wonderful. Wow, that's
Okay,
I'm envious.
so next, who do we have?
And then we get into the nasty 3rd century.
Ooh, okay. So, an extremely nice Gallienus.
Which I was geeking out about a couple of minutes ago. Look at that silvering.
Silvering on a late Gallienus too.
Yeah, this is from around 268, right? Right around the time when he was assassinated.
And a very difficult mint.
Yes, that is from Siskia. Generally, you identify these especially for the style, for the die style. I mean, look at that. That looks proper silver.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for these like tiny little parts of in the highest parts where the copper is poking through, you can totally see the idea that the mint was going for when these left the mint, right?
If
they
they
wanted to
all
trick people.
If they all looked like this, you might have thought that they would have gotten away with it.
Absolutely. I mean, how much silver was in these? It was probably something like 3 to 2%.
Just a few.
Yeah, like incredibly. I mean, just look at that thing. And if the moment we move them around, just like if we move the camera around just a little bit, you can notice that not only you can see like the silvering there, but you can see the toning developing over this, which is really microns deep level of silvering. This is an outstanding coin. Humble coin, but just so exceptional.
Okay, so next, around the same era, we have Marius.
Ooh, a very elusive emperor from the series of the Gallic emperors.
Yes.
Not a whole lot of people know about this guy. Do you know a little bit about him?
Very little. I mainly knew that I did not have him in my collection.
Yeah,
I will have to do some reading when I get home.
he didn't last very long, right? Did he reign between, if my memory serves me right, between Victorinus and... I'm not sure if he reigned before
269.
Victorinus. I think that was right after Posthumus. So that's between
Yes.
Posthumus and Victorinus.
Yes.
Either that or between Victorinus and Tetricus. And you can see that he actually has like a distinctive portrait that looks different from the long beards of the other Gallic emperors. So that is interesting.
And I really appreciated it because of the reavers. It's
Yes.
very well struck.
It's very
and
well
deep strike.
struck. It's different from what you typically see. And this coin has a little extra thing about it, right? It is from a recorded find in the
Yes.
UK.
The Harbridge Hoard from
Yeah.
Hampshire.
The UK is an example for pretty much the whole world as far as archaeological finds goes. Metal detectors who find coins in the UK, they need to report the finds, but if no museum wants the coin, they get to keep it and split the earnings with the landowner, which leads to a very healthy numismatic market and pretty much a country that is in the forefront of the numismatic industry, basically. What a wonderful little thing.
Okay, next. Soon after, we have Carus.
A little bit of an elusive character as well. He didn't reign for a whole lot.
The Emperor struck by lightning.
Yeah, he was part of this very small, very short-lived dynasty started by him and their sons, right? Carinus and Numerian. And you can identify him to his sons. You can distinguish him for a very distinguished receding hairline. He had a bit of a problem with his hair. That's a lovely little piece as well.
Yeah, let's see the reverse.
Yeah. And you can see the portraits.
This.
And you can see the portraits starting to become a little bit abstract at that time.
And then you have the detail indicating the purity level.
The purity level. Yeah, it's a bit of an ironic reverse, right? You have the very low silver content that is actually openly stated, 20-1, and then you have the hope for better times, the hope of the public, while Jupiter said, no, I'm going to send a lightning strike over this guy, just so you guys don't feel safe just yet. What a wonderful little thing.
And last but not least,
Let's wrap it up with some gold.
we have Theodosius II.
We have Theodosius II. Could you tell us a little bit of who Theodosius II was?
Most famous for constructing the Theodosian walls in Constantinople. The walls that lasted until the fall of the Byzantine Empire.
Oh, wow.
Never breached for, well, not breached for roughly 1,000 years.
Until the Turks decided to bring cannons into the fold. Do you think they would have managed to resist if it wasn't for that?
I think no, but they might have gotten more people to escape.
Might
have fought a few more days.
Yeah, probably. And on the reverse, we have Constantinopolis, right?
Yep.
She's stepping over a ship's prow, which is, I think it's generally the best way to distinguish her from Dea Roma, right?
Mm-hmm. And it indicates emperor for 42 years, consul for 17.
For 17, perpetuus, or in this case, it could very well be
Pater Patria.
It could be father of the nation still, right?
Yes, I believe so.
So interesting, so late in Roman history, and you still see the typical imperial titles there on the coins, which actually helps us nail down the exact date when this coin was made.
Yes.
Because these were yearly titles given to the emperors. Mm-hmm. What a wonderful little thing.
Oh, yes.
And if you thought we were over, you are wrong, because actually we forgot about this lovely little thing here. What do we have here?
Ooh, we have an Alexander type tetradrachm. I say type because it's Seleucus, not Alexander. And you can tell by the specific images on the reverse with the little control marks. This certain combination is associated with Seleucus when he was a satrap. And prior to his taking over of the Seleucid Empire.
Yeah, so we have a series of control marks to the left of Zeus and under him, and we also have the little mint mark with the Club of Heracles, right?
Yes.
Which actually leads me to an interesting question. I love to hear people's opinions on it. If we go to the obverse, since we just mentioned the Club of Heracles, who do you think we have here? Do you think we have Alexander himself, or this is actually Heracles?
I say for the early ones, Heracles, but I think towards the end of his life and after his death, they seem to, the ones associated with the people who knew him, in my opinion, appear to resemble a specific person. And that's what makes me think it might be Alexander.
You have specific facial features that, so it treads the line between either being directly Alexander or like a very tasteful mix of Heracles with Alexander-like features. Yeah, right, because shortly after this coin was struck, you start seeing stuff like Lysimachus, who issued coins who are openly Alexander, and they have very similar styles in the face and all. Yeah, shall we have a look at it from the side? Because this is one of the things I particularly like the most. Like, this is literally him looking at you.
It's half a statue.
It is like the sunken eyes looking at you. It's even hard for like the zoom to actually figure out, because it's just, there's so many levels of three-dimensionality going on there. That is a wonderful little thing. So yeah, I had lots of fun. I had lots of fun at fun. It was overall a great experience. If you are from the US, it's definitely worth the trip to Florida. And I'm certainly going to be attending more coin shows. And that's an opportunity to ask you to write down in the comment section below which coin shows I should go to next. I'll certainly be paying more attention to what you write there. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this new format. Happy collecting, and I'll see you soon. Let me give a special thank you to all of my amazing channel members and Patreons for their generous support. This channel would not be the same without your help. And if you would like to be part of this list, have early access to my videos when they are uploaded to YouTube, and a series of other perks, make sure to check out my Patreon page and my members tab on YouTube. Thank you very much.